The team that did return in '65 was the Dodgers, behind the most dynamic pitching duo in the game.
The big guys, Sandy and Don, were the keys.
Koufax and Drysdale.
They were both great pitchers and probably the two greatest pitchers in the game at that time.
But the American League pennant-winning Minnesota Twins had a few stars of their own.
They had some good pitchers and some guys, pretty good hitters. Killebrew and Oliva and Allison, and they had a good ball club.
Koufax, everyone assumed, would start Game 1.
Koufax was supposed to start the first game, and it was a Jewish holiday, Yom Kippur. So Drysdale started the first game, and we beat Don. And the second game, Sandy pitched, and we beat Sandy.
Our two Hall of Fame pitchers get beaten.
The Twins have batted around.
We're going home thinking, what happened here? We're 0-2.
The Dodgers couldn't believe their misfortune.
When we got back to L.A. and our home, we were devastated.
We thought, gosh, we might have a chance to sweep the series. We lost 3 straight in Dodger Stadium.
I don't know if we would have beat them by Christmas out there. They kind of did a number on us.
Back in Minnesota, the Twins won Game 6 to set up a classic Game 7. But Minnesota would once again have to beat Koufax.
With just 2 days rest, I thought Sandy Koufax pitched the greatest game that I've ever seen pitched and shut us out 2-0.
He did it. Sandy Koufax, his second consecutive shutout of the Twins.
Sandy was dynamite, as usual. With Koufax pitching, we didn't have to score a lot of runs. One would have been sufficient enough.
And the Dodgers have won the 1965 World Series.
Well, the '66 World Series, I think we came into Los Angeles as the underdog. The Dodgers had beat the Twins the year before, and they'd been in 3 out of the last 4 World Series.
We go into the World Series, they said we didn't belong with the Dodgers on the same field with the Dodgers.
Triple Crown winner Frank Robinson was just part of the Orioles package.
We had a pretty good team with myself and Aparicio and Davey Johnson, a Boog Powell, and we had Paul Blair in center field, and you just don't get any better than that.
Drysdale again started Game 1 and got hit hard early.
Before I got my shirt off after warming Drysdale up, the two Robinsons, Brooks and Frank, had hit home runs against us in the first inning.
Reliever Mo Drabowski won Game 1, and with Jim Palmer and Wally Bunker to follow, the Orioles now had a small edge. But young Palmer knew he had quite a challenge facing Koufax.
Didn't take a rocket scientist to see when you're pitching against Sandy Koufax that you definitely had a great chance of losing. But as it turned out, I pitched my first shutout ever.
And that started a trend.
The last 3 games were all shutouts. I think 6-0, 1-0, 1-0.
They was just knocking us out of the box, overpowered us, really. Before we knew it, it was over.
Baltimore wins 1-0, sweeping the series in 4 straight over the Dodgers.
In many respects, the '66 series was the best pitched, since Matheson did it virtually all by himself in 1905.
The Dodgers probably, I think, had the worst team batting average in World Series history, and for a winning team, we had the worst batting average for a team in World Series history.
Pretty close to it, but despite the fact that Baltimore did hit just 200 in the series, the trophy was still theirs.
We beat the Dodgers 4 straight. Hollywood wouldn't put something like that together. They say it would be too far-fetched.
Seeking to write a Hollywood ending of their own in 1967, the Boston Red Sox were improbable winners of the American League pennant.
We're going to go up against a seasoned Cardinal team.
Brock, Flood, Shannon, McCarver, Cepeda, Maris. And then if Gibson is pitching, you can see why they played as well and won as many games as they did.
In Game 1 of the series, the Red Sox faced Bob Gibson and lost. So Boston's best hitter took some post-game time to tune up.
After Game 1, I was kind of wandering out into Fenway Park, and who is out there taking extra hitting after the first game of the World Series but Carl Yastrzemski. And sure enough, the next day,
Yastrzemski's second home run of the day.
Still, the 1967 Triple Crown winner took a back seat to Jim Lonborg. The 22-game winner took a perfect game into the 7th and eventually evened the series at a game apiece.
We go out to St. Louis, they beat us the next 2 games. Then I beat them in the 5th game to bring it back to Boston again.
They hadn't even packed their bags to make the trip back to Boston.
We were surprised because we thought we were going to beat them in 5 games. We went all the way to 7 games.
And back in Boston, the Cardinals got some inspiration from the Boston papers.
It had headlines of those big 3 or 4 inch block letters. It said, Longborg and Champagne. I said to myself, and I think our ball club said, there's no way. It just won't happen.
It probably wasn't a good idea to give Bob Gibson any extra incentive.
I remember we were going to the ballpark, and he said, this is my game. I won this game.
He was determined, and there was nothing more fearsome than a determined Bob Gibson. I felt sorry for the Boston hitters in a sense.
He was one guy that when all is said and done, I don't ever care if I face again as long as I live, and I won't. Not even in one of these old fantasy camps.
Gibson allowed just 3 hits, and it was the Cardinals who drank the champagne.
Gibson did it. Bob did it. He won 3 games, and he did it.
End of story.
Yes.
The following year, Bob Gibson was still the story.
1968 was a very special season for the baseball purists. It was the year of the pitcher.
In '68, for some reason, just happens to be the year that everything came together. And yeah, I was in a zone.
His microscopic 1.12 ERA set a live ball era record. In Game 1 of the '68 series, had left the Tigers stunned.
K-Line told me, no way, nobody could have hit Gibson that day.
He was certainly a dominating pitcher, and that first game he pitched was overwhelming.
That particular day, I don't care what team they played, he was on master them. I mean, he couldn't do anything wrong.
When I went up to try to bunt off of him, I swear to you, I never saw the ball.
He got it! Struck him out! A new world record of 17 strikeouts in one game.
It's surprising that Bob only struck out 17 with the type of stuff he had.
The Cardinals won 2 of the next 3 to take a 3-1 lead in the series. But then, things started to fall apart.
You got a team down, you got to put them away. We had the Tigers 3 games to 1. We had an opportunity to put them away, and we allowed them to get off the deck.
Lou Brock was one of the great base stealers of all time and an outstanding World Series performer. So it was ironic that a base-running gaffe by Lou would start to turn the tide.
The throw by Horton, and he is safe. Out! No!
Brock doesn't slide. And that was simply the turning point of the series. At that point in time, the Tigers began to believe.
The Tigers won 2 straight to set up a Game 7 showdown between Gibson and Mickey Lolich, each of whom had won twice. They kept the game scoreless into the 7th. But that's when the Cardinals slipped up.
If Flood hadn't fallen and tripped in the center field in that triple by Northup, they might still be playing.
The Tigers won 4-1 and celebrated their first World Series title since 1945.
In 1969, man performed 2 feats that staggered the imagination of the American public. One took place when man first landed on the moon. The other took place in October.
That's right, because in their first 7 seasons, the New York Mets had never finished above 9th place in their 10-team league. But come 1969, they proved to be simply
amazing. 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 Asombrosos. Amazing. 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 It's just amazing.
We knew we had the pitching staff because the other ball clubs weren't scoring any runs.
But in the '69 series, these upstart Mets would have to beat a Baltimore team that had won 109 games.
That's probably the best team I played on, and we just kind of blew everyone away.
When Don Buford slammed Tom Seaver's second pitch for a home run, the Mets appeared to be in trouble.
When he stepped on second base, Buford said, "You haven't seen anything yet." He meant if I can hit a home run, you got Frank and Brooks and Boo Power and all these people coming up, that it's going to be a very, very short series. He was right. It's going to be a short World Series, but it's going to be on the other side.
After losing Game 1, the Mets showed what made them so amazing.
What kept us in the World Series was our defensive plays. Agee made tremendous plays in center field.
Agee!
Swoboda made a tremendous catch in right field.
I can remember at the time saying, boy, you just made one hell of a catch here. And this is a World Series.
Agey's 2 catches plus Swoboda's, they helped define our team in the World Series, pitching and defense.
They made all the plays. There was a lot of crazy little things that happened in that World Series.
When you get in the spotlight and you're the only game in town, you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes the best really doesn't win.
I says, we were a better team than they were. How can you say that? We were the world champions. We had to be a better ball club. We beat them 4-1. The Mets are the world champions.
The Orioles were determined to make amends in 1970, and the Big Red Machine that was just now revving up was, thanks to injuries, stuck in neutral.
We had everybody hurt. They're out. They're gone.
I had 2 or 3 guys with bad arms, and we really took advantage of that.
The Orioles averaged more than 6 runs a game and won the series 4-1. But the '70 series will always be remembered as the Brooks Robinson Show.
Great play by Robinson. Look at that! Great day in the morning. What a play.
About the 3rd game, I said, man, I hope this thing gets over because I can't keep this up. This is unbelievable.
We thought the balls were extra base hits, and he really took us out of the World Series with his glove.
He's been the difference in the series. That's 1 and 2. The Reds say they should bar him. He's illegal.
I don't think I ever had 5 games in a row like I had in that particular series.
And for the 2nd time in 5 years,
Baltimore is the world champ.
in '71, Pittsburgh's Roberto Clemente took on an impossible mission of his own.
The same type of performance that Brooks did the year before Roberto did the following year.
His goal was to show the people around the country and around the world what he had shown the people in the tri-state area around Pittsburgh for a lot of years.
But against the World Series savvy Orioles, Clemente and the Pirates weren't given much of a chance.
We were playing against a great ball club, the Baltimore Orioles, who had 4 20-game winners.
We had Dobson, Palmer, Cuellar, and McNally, and that's something that'll never happen again.
Most people thought that we had no shot.
I mean, we just said, well, we have no reason to even be here. We should just stay at home. They done already won.
And the Orioles did win the first 2 games in Baltimore. But that's when Clemente took matters into his own hands.
As we lost the 2nd game in Baltimore, Clemente came in the clubhouse and he started screaming and said that we're going to go back to Pittsburgh and we're going to kick their butts 3 games in a row.
You have to have a player who believes that he can beat the supposedly better team.
And we went back to Pittsburgh and we did exactly that.
It was like a runaway truck on a downhill with no brakes.
Clemente drove the Bucks to victory.
What a throw! And Clemente beats it out.
Clemente has done it all for the Pirates.
Home run, Clemente.
Be able to do all of those things that you hear a guy can do when everyone is watching. I mean, that's the epitome of being the best player there is.
I'd probably have another World Series ring if it wasn't for him.
Mike Clemente putting on a one-man show.
Roberto homered in Game 7, and Steve Blass pitched a 4-hitter. Pittsburgh had captured the World Series, and now everyone knew of the Pirates' greatest treasure.
People started saying, well, now I understand what they were saying when they were talking about Roberto Clemente.
In the '71 World Series, I saw what everybody was talking about. Clemente was definitely the difference in the series.
Clemente has been named the outstanding player of the series.
The 1972 World Series saw the Big Red Machine of Cincinnati face a lively, colorful, raucous band of Oakland Athletics, who were changing the face of baseball.
If we would have had a camera crew following us around, we could have had our own sitcom. But some kind of way, we all got together and we just kind of gelled.
There's a long blast to deep left. That one is going, and it is gone. A home run for Gene Tennis.
Gene Tennis got in the series groove early, hitting home runs in each of his first 2 at-bats. That's a World Series record. It was a feat that tennis took in stride.
Kind of worked out where some knucklehead got hot and kind of picked up the slack.
And while tennis did his part at the plate, outfielder Joe Rudi stepped to the fore with his glove.
There's a long drive to deep left, that ball going, and it is caught by Rudi! Joe Rudi!
When the ball left the bat, I thought it was out. I really did. And it was just a blessing because the ball was literally within an inch or two of the sun. And I looked up and I just jumped as high as I could. I was just as surprised as anybody that I caught the ball because I really did think it was out.
Joe Rudi rubs it with extra.
In a series marked by surprising performances, it was only right that the A's surprised the baseball world by defeating the heavily favored Reds in 7 games. It was the A's first title in 42 years.
I think after we beat them and everything, still the newspaper said that Cincinnati was better. We didn't care what you said, we won.
The defending champion A's returned to the Fall Classic the following year. But this time, the surprise team in attendance was the New York Mets, who never wavered from their mantra, you gotta believe.
There was no question that we could beat those guys because we had what every team needed, and that was pitching.
That pitching did neutralize the potent A's lineup, and timely hitting by the Mets put them in a position to win it all. But once the Amazons let Game 6 slip away, then they had to face the fact that they'd awakened a sleeping giant.
The Oakland A's that everybody knew and that we had read about slept for 6 games. They never showed up. But in the 7th game, the real Oakland Ball Club showed up.
Fly ball to right field, hit pretty well, and there you go!
The ball that Bert Campaneris hit for a home run opposite field was a curveball that I thought was a hell of a pitch. How he hit it, I still don't know. Every time I see him, we talk about it to this day. And the pitch Reggie hit should have been hit, maybe should have been hit further. I plain and simple hung a curveball and he drilled it.
There's a long drive, Jackson has hit it all, and it is gone!
The A's had now captured 2 straight world championships, and they were making converts every step along the way. The question in '74 was, could they do it yet again?
The Oakland A's are right on target into another World Series, their 3rd in a row. They're the defending world champs going against the youthful Dodgers, who are back in for the first time since 1966.
But even though Oakland was back in the series, not everyone was willing to give them credit.
Attaboy, Billy! Way to hit that ball!
Case in point, the Dodgers' Bill Buckner.
Going into the World Series, Bill had made some statements in the paper that only a couple of guys in the A's could play on the Dodgers team.
That kind of upset the rest of us in that clubhouse, so somebody put that on the bulletin board.
You gotta love those bulletin boards, as the A's were inspired to triumph in a nail-biting 5-game series. Most of the contests were tight, but the A's became the first team to win 3 straight championships in 22 years.
The A's are the world champions!
Man, I only went 5 games that one. It was a little shorter because the Dodgers made us mad.
In 1975, the A's bid to win a 4th straight title was thwarted by the Red Sox, who faced Cincinnati in the World Series. The first 5 games were exciting, and the Reds took a 3-2 lead. But then, a little rain fell on the World Series parade.
When you have a World Series, there's 1,000 reporters at the event, and they had nothing to do but write stories, and everyone in the country realized what we were doing and who it was that was doing it because of all the press.
5 long days later, the buildup paid off as the Red Sox took a 3-0 lead at Fenway Park, only to watch it become a 6-3 deficit by the 8th. The Reds were now just 4 outs from the title when pinch hitter Bernie Carbo came up with 2 men on.
Deep center field, way back, we're tied up.
And as I rounded second base, I'm yelling at Pete Rose, don't you wish you were this strong? Don't you wish you were this strong? And Pete Rose is yelling at me. Isn't this what World Series is about? Isn't this fun?
3 pressure-packed innings later, Dwight Evans kept the game tied at 6.
Back near the wall, and oh, what a catch he made!
Dewey's defense had set the stage for one of the most memorable moments in World Series history.
Now it's the 12th inning, and I'm on the on-deck circle with Fred Lynn, and I said, Freddie, I don't know, but I feel something good here. I'm going to hit one off the wall, drive me in.
We were talking about it on deck before he went up there, and he said, you know, I'm going to get on, you drive me in. Well, he hogged the show.
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
You know, and after that, it's almost like your mind just goes blank. It goes dull. Everything kind of, the sounds are muffled, and you just make sure you touch every base.
It was such a special moment, you know, and it's what American sports is all about. It's Americana almost. Baseball, hot apple pie, and Carlton Fisk.
Fisk's ultra-dramatic home run made Game 6 indelible. But the next night in Game 7, the joy in Beantown ended as the Reds won it.
Overall, I don't think it had anything to do with who won or lost. The only people that won this are the fans that watched.
1976 saw the return of the Yankees to the World Series, propelled there by Chris Chambliss's League Championship Series winning home run against Kansas City.
Mark Littell delivers high drive, hits it right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris Chambliss has won.
The World Series would now be back in New York for the first time in 12 years.
The way that game ended against Kansas City, I mean, we partied pretty hard after that because it was the biggest thrill any of us have ever had at that time.
But the euphoria was short-lived as the defending champions crashed the party.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Boys, I got news for you. We're going to be world champions again, Sugar Bear. We are now going to be world champions again.
That was a huge moment for us. Back-to-back, we'd swept the playoffs, swept the Yankees. That was the ultimate.
That's it. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. The Cincinnati Reds win their 4th World Championship.
The Yankees got another shot in 1977 when they squared off for the 9th time against their longtime rivals, the Dodgers. But this time, it was L.A. that seemed unprepared.
We weren't quite ready for the Yankees, who had more experience, I think, at that point for us.
The Yankees took a commanding 3-1 series lead. And though they failed to close it out in the 5th game at Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers got a peek at their future in Reggie Jackson's last at-bat.
There's a high drive. Deep to right. It's fair. Green hits the screen. Foul ball, Jackson.
But that was just the beginning, for Reggie was about to rock the Bronx.
He knew that everyone would be watching. He knew that he had to step up big for us.
Now listen to the ovation for Reggie Jackson.
You were sensing the moment that this was going to be a great evening for Reggie.
There's a drive to right field and deep. Chris going back, away back. It's gone. Home run, Reggie Jackson.
Well, Reggie goes up the first inning. It's a home run. One pitch, you don't think too much about it.
But on the next pitch he saw, Reggie put another one into the seats. Counting his last at-bat in Los Angeles, he had now homered on 3 straight swings. Could he possibly make it 4 in a row? Well, he'd have to do it against a knuckleballer, Charlie Huff.
Reggie Jackson has seen 2 pitches in the strike zone tonight, 2, and he's hit them both in the seats.
My main thought, the way the fans were reacting, was I cannot walk this guy. And I threw what I thought was a very good knuckleball.
You know, now you know this is history.
You know, 3 home runs in the World Series game is certainly something that I'm very proud of. I don't think I understood the impact that it would have on the game.
Guys like DiMaggio and Mays and Aaron and Clemente, and I can now say that I had one day that was like those guys.
When it was all over, I remember Reggie sitting in the manager's office talking about how next year was going to be great.
And he was right, as the Yankees returned to the series to once again face the Dodgers. But this time they lost the first 2 games in L.A. The frustrated Yankees headed back to the Bronx, where they saw a defensive display that defied belief by third baseman Greg Nettles.
Serve Nettles with a great play to dial to get the run of the team. 2 rounds.
Standing next to him and watching him, you know, a couple plays you just go, wow.
Square by Greg Nettles, the Yankee third baseman. He is absolutely fabulous. I don't believe it.
All the difficult plays that he had to make with people on base just, cut us right in half every time.
In the next game, Reggie once again got in the way of the Dodgers' best laid plans.
Right at Wesley, dropped the ball. Are they going to get 2? Third, he threw it away. Going to hit Reggie. Hit Reggie. He's got to get out of the way. Right here. He's got it away in the middle. He's got to get out of the way.
It was obstruction, no question about it. So it was a bad call, and he should have been called out.
Wait a minute. He's standing right here. Here's what he's standing right here. He can't stand it.
You have to give Reggie a lot of credit for doing it, but then he got away with it. That's what hurt me more than anything else.
Personally, I thought that was a smart play. I mean, he did act pretty good. I didn't like it against us.
That's a damn shame, I'll tell you that.
We just didn't handle it very well. I don't think we had enough time to mentally work ourselves through it.
It was a big momentum swing as far as the World Series when that happened.
Reggie's rump got him over the hump, and the Yankees took the next 2 games. In the process, they became the third back-to-back champions of the decade.
Every time you win a World Series, it's one of the greatest things in the world, really.
Let's go, Bucks! Let's go, Bucks! Let's go, Bucks! Let's go, Bucks!
In 1979, the Pittsburgh Pirates led the National League in runs scored, but the Baltimore Orioles had great pitching. The Pirates, though, had a secret weapon. They were family.
We did have a unique closeness on that ball club, and we called it the family. Took a theme song that Sister Sledge had made popular that year. We are family. And we adopted it as our theme song.
And then I have to take my hat off because that's kind of like my second national anthem.
Through 4 games, Baltimore managed to keep the Pirates' bats at bay and got timely hits of their own to put them on the verge of their first world title since 1970.
So Baltimore goes up 3 games to 1.
So Pops decided to call a family meeting.
We expected to win that ball game because we felt that if we're going to lose, let's show the world that we haven't played, and let's play like the Pirates are capable of playing.
And the Pirates won games 5 and 6. Then, in game 7.
Hit well, right field. Singleton to the wall, and this ball is gone.
Stargell's colossal blow had brought the family to the brink of an amazing comeback.
Nice go, Will. That way to go, big man. All right, that's the way to put us in front. All right.
The Bucks became the first team since 1968 to come back from a 3-1 deficit by winning games 6 and 7 in Baltimore.
When we won the World Series, it was like, who cares what anybody did? We were the champions of the world.
In 1980, the Philadelphia Phillies finally made it back to the series, trying to give their frustrated fans their first ever title.
Over the years, I mean, we let them down so many times, and we wanted them to know we were trying as hard as we could try.
But now they'd have to beat George Brett and the Kansas City Royals, also looking for their first crown. The series went back and forth, each team refusing to lose in its own park. But in Game 5 in Kansas City, the Phillies got a pivotal victory, putting them on the precipice of the championship. It all came down to a weary Tug McGraw.
The crowd will tell you what happens.
McGraw didn't have much left. He had a very tired arm, but he cranked it up one more time.
It was one of those where you reach back for some extra 79-mile-an-hour fastball, and struck him out. We were world champions in a heartbeat.
We put all the demons to rest, so to speak, you know, and it just needed to happen.
A players' strike shortened the 81 season, and the altered postseason format required teams to win 2 playoff series to reach the World Series. The Dodgers won the National League rights and hoped to meet their nemesis in the series.
I'm saying, dear God, if you ever have a chance to put us into another fall classic, please let it be against the Yankees. I want them so bad.
The Yankees have won the pennant.
Now we have another chance against the dreaded Yankees. So what did we do? We lost the first 2 games of the series.
And all of a sudden dropping the first 2 games and everybody saying, here goes again, Yankees they might even sweep the Dodgers.
But this was now a playoff-tested team, one that had a reputation for coming from behind.
We were down 2 games to Houston. We came back and won that series 3-2. We were down 2 games to 1 to Montreal. We won that series. So even though we were down 2 games coming out of New York, I never really doubted our chances.
The Dodgers' confidence would be rewarded as they won the next 3 games at home and destroyed the Yankees' spirit in the process. That set up a shot for sweet revenge, as the Dodgers had a chance to win it all at Yankee Stadium.
It presented us an opportunity to come back and to rewrite a chapter that we kept reading over and over and over.
The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
It was really kind of a culmination of all the hard work and effort.
So they finally got even with the Yankees after beating us twice in the World Series. Finally, we got them.
Baseball in the crazy 80s taught us that no uniform is too bright, no style too magical, and of course,
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything could happen, and it did.
That was certainly the case in the '82 World Series, where the speedy St. Louis Cardinals took on the heavy-hitting Milwaukee Brewers.
I love the nickname of the Milwaukee Brewers. Harvey Keene was the manager, and somebody slapped the tag on this team as Harvey's Wallbangers, and a great moniker, and that's exactly what they weren't.
But it was the Cardinals who made a big bang in Game 3, led by slap-hitting rookie Willie McGee.
Moore going back. McGee will touch them all. That's 2 for McGee. What a day that kid's having.
1 home run for a guy that hit only 4 all season was a story, but for McGee to hit 2 in 1 World Series game, he found his moment.
McGee also had a moment in the 9th with a spectacular catch.
McGee is doing everything to become the star.
The series would climax with a 7th game in St. Louis.
Going into that game, of course, we were all very nervous, but we were confident that if we played our game, that we had a good chance of winning.
And closer Bruce Sutter made sure that's what happened.
A swing and a miss, and that's the winner. That's the winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals.
While the Cardinals ruled the roost in '82, it was the Orioles who flocked to the series in '83.
We were definitely the underdog, and here we are going against the Philadelphia Phillies with names like Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, Mike Schmidt. These guys are the gods of baseball.
But with the score tied at 1 in Game 1, it was another higher power who made his presence felt.
About the 7th inning, the president gets up to leave, and he stops with Howard Cosell and starts telling baseball stories. And the game gets delayed.
Anything that throws you out of your routine you don't like, you know. You're on the mound, and you just seem to go on and on and on. I said, forget it, let's pitch.
He got cold, did Scotty McGregor, and he gave up a home run, and the Orioles lost their only game they lost in the '83 World Series. And it's all the fault of the Gipper.
So the Phillies won 1 for the Gipper, but the Orioles took the next 3. And in Game 5, Eddie Murray made a name for himself with a pair of blasts.
Eddie Murray has hit 2 home runs, and it's 4-0 Orioles.
Eddie came up, he homered to right center field, and I'll never forget his name being on the board, and the ball
hitting on his name on the scoreboard.
And just to make things perfect, Game 1's losing pitcher got revenge.
And the Orioles are the world champions.
I ran to the mound and hugged Scotty McGregor and lifted that orange catcher's mitt in the air. And I was thinking that we had finally done it.
If the Orioles had felt like underdogs, imagine being the '84 Padres, having to face a Detroit Tigers team that began the regular season 35-5 and never looked back.
We had the incredible start, and the feeling was that we were, whoever we played, that we were going to win.
Jack Morris did just that in Game 1, and then the bats took over.
There's another drive to left. It's deep, and this one is gone. The second home run by Trammell.
Trammell did most of the damage in Game 4, but the series' decisive blow was delivered in Game 5 by Kirk Gibson.
Runners at second and third. The Tigers lead 5-4, eighth inning. And they will walk Gibson, I believe.
I looked over at Sparky, and I said, he's not going to walk me.
He don't want to walk you.
Dick Williams comes out, and he goes, you want the infield in? He says, no.
You want the infield in on him? No.
Goose thought for sure he can overpower him and go get him.
I mean, you're talking about striking him out. Yeah.
Williams comes out, and I said, hey, let's go after him. And that was the missile that sunk our ship.
A long drive to right. And it is a home run for Gibson. You don't want to walk him? No. Don't walk him. Don't walk him. A three-run homer. The Tigers lead it 8-4.
And when I hit that home run, everybody knew the series was ours. And, you know, it was time to start partying in the city of Detroit.
It's a happy bunch of Tigers.
There was no question that the World Series trophy would stay in the Midwest the next year as the Kansas City Royals faced the St. Louis Cardinals in the first ever I-70 World Series.
It was kind of a little storybook World Series because the first two games we lost at home.
And a gut-wrenching loss. The Royals and their fans totally stunned.
At that point in time, there had been no team that had come back from losing the first two games at home to win a World Series. So history was against us.
Yes, but Cy Young Award winner Brett Saberhagen was on the Royals' side, and they came back. Still, they needed a bit of good fortune, and 3 outs from elimination in Game 6, Kansas City got it. It became known as the call.
Little squibber to the right side. Worrell races over to cover. The throw doesn't get him.
We got a favorable call at first. We got a break. The call went our way. Could have gone the other way.
Looks like he's out. Oh, yes. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
That particular play happened, and the next guy comes up and hits a pop-up toward the first base dugout that wasn't caught.
Clark can't make the play.
You start wondering, oh no, what's going on here?
What it was a royal flush.
Looper hitting the right field for a base hit. Here's the throw. He scores. We go to a 7.
In Game 7, the frustrated Cardinals had no chance against Saberhagen, who conspired with his third baseman to plot their post-game celebration.
I said, you know, when this guy makes the last out, and he will make the last out, just kind of hang around the mound here. I want to be the first one on the mound. And sure enough, that's what happened.
The Kansas City Royals are the 1985 World Champions.
The Royals had bucked history, but this was merely a precursor of 1986.
And the Red Sox, who were supposedly a 3-1 underdog team, have swept 2 in New York. And we'll see if it continues at Fenway.
It didn't. The Red Sox lost 2 of 3 at home, and the series returned to New York for Game 6. There, Boston held a 2-run lead with 2 out on the 10th. It looked to all of us like the curse of the Bambino was about to end.
Bob Costas was in the Red Sox visiting clubhouse and had the stage set. Champagne was ready to be poured. And when I came to the plate, I just knew in my heart, I'm not going to be the last out.
Lined into left field, base hit for Carter, and the Mets are still alive. Curveball, and that's going to be hit to center, base hit. And now suddenly with 2 out in the 10th inning, the tying runs are aboard, and Ray Knight will be the batter.
No big deal. Still, this is, how can they come back?
Gets 0-2 on me, and I'm looking hard away, and he busts a fastball up and in on me.
And that's going to be hit into center field, base hit. Here comes Carter to score, and the tying run is at third, and Kevin Mitchell.
Odds of them getting hits, you know, You're just hoping that one of our guys would throw a ball a foot outside or something, because I think all the hits came with like 0-2 on 3 or 4 different batters.
2-2 to Mookie Wilson.
Buddy Harrelson had just told me, Mitch, be prepared for a ball in the dirt.
And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base.
Defense can win you a championship, and so too can it help you lose one.
That morning, I had written a column asking the question of whether Buckner should play or not. And I ended by saying that people should practically say a prayer for Buckner, that he had tried so hard and contributed so much but was so battered that something sad shouldn't happen to him, but that the fates usually found players like that.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
I don't remember ever touching ground. It was like I floated to home plate.
The Mets are not only alive, they are well, and they will play the Red Sox in Game 7.
And win 8-5 over the star-crossed Red Sox.
Strike him out! Strike him out! Mets win it! The Mets have won it!
In 1987, the Cardinals made their 3rd series appearance in 6 years, though injuries had saddled both Jack Clark and Terry Pendleton. As for their opponents, well, just being there proved that almost anything can happen.
The Minnesota Twins go into the World Series having been outscored, they were out-hit in terms of average, they were out-homered, and they were out-pitched in terms of earned run average. They were out everything.
But they did have the ultimate home field advantage, a deafening dome.
You couldn't hear yourself think, the Homer Hankies and the whole deal, you know.
Now we know what sound feels like. Got to be physical to watch a game here.
You could kind of see with the way that we played that it made it very, very tough.
Inspired by their fans, the Twins won all 4 of their home games, including a dome-rattling Game 7.
The Gaetti, for the first time ever, the Minnesota Twins are the world champions.
A title for favored St. Louis just wasn't in the cards. But in 1988, it seemed like Oakland held a hand that couldn't be beat.
When you talk about our lineup, there weren't many little guys in it. You go to me, Canseco, McGuire, Parker, Lansford, Steinbach. We've demolished some people.
The A's opponents in '88 were the Dodgers, and while they did have the Cy Young and MVP award winners, the latter wasn't expected to play.
The lead up to the World Series was like, you know, how badly are we going to beat the Dodgers? We expected to win.
Grand slam home run for Jose Canseco.
With Canseco providing the power and the best closer in the game coming on to protect a 1-run lead, Game 1 looked to be a foregone conclusion.
Popped up around the bag.
I got Sosa to pop up, so I thought I was golden. As soon as I popped him up, I said, that's that.
Not so fast. A 2-out walk by Eckersley, just his 14th all year, opened the door for the Dodgers' hobbled slugger.
The clubhouse boy came to me and said, Gibson wants to see you up in the runway. So I go up there, and there's Kurt. He said, Skipper, I think I can hit for you. So I said, great.
You know, he needed a long time to get there, so it was driving me nuts. It's like, get this guy up here. He's the last out. Let's get this thing over with. You got your foot on their throat. You want to put them away.
Gibson physically unable to start tonight with 2 bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it.
Gibson worked the count full and then guessed.
I stepped out of the box and said to myself, partner, as sure as I'm standing here breathing, you're going to throw me that 3-2 backdoor slider, aren't you?
High fly ball into right field. She is gone. The Dodgers have won the game 5-4. I don't believe what I just saw. I don't believe what I just saw.
They were stunned, and it shook them up so bad, it paralyzed them, and they never were really able to recover.
While Gibson's dramatic blast provided the spark, it was Orel Hershiser who fanned the flames, not to mention 17 A's, as the Dodgers won a tidy 5-game series.
impossible dream revisited.
The A's returned to the World Series in 1989, still smarting from their defeat to the Dodgers, and ready for their showdown with their Bay Area rivals, the San Francisco Giants. And the early returns did look promising.
The A's lead 2 games to nothing.
Then the series moved across the bay to San Francisco, and out of the clear blue sky, everything changed.
We went on the air at 5 o'clock Eastern time, and I started talking about Dave Parker, and I could hear it. It was the sound that was perhaps the most ominous.
At second base, so the Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having another.
We're down. Down. Everything's down. Relax. We're down. I can't believe that. We're knocked off the air. We're out.
Well, folks, that's the greatest open in the history of television, bar none.
In the midst of the Fall Classic, a seismic shift had rocked the baseball world.
First time I ever got scared at the Allstate. I got knocked down a lot, but this is the first time I ever got scared. Man, the ground was shaking, man.
When you get back to your houses, wherever you're living in, you see, this freeway's collapsed and killed hundreds, and the marina's on fire, and the Bay Bridge had a big section collapse. You sort of got the gravity of it, and you're like, hey, wait, this is not good at all.
We are postponing the game because there is no power in the stadium. We would like you to leave in an orderly way.
As the residents of the Bay Area picked up the pieces of their lives, Commissioner Fay Vincent kept the games on hold. It would be the longest such delay in World Series history.
When the game did resume, which was 10 days later, there was really no emotion at all. I mean, Oakland wound up winning the next 2 games and swept us, but it was sort of anticlimactic after that.
The A's are the world champions.
I think we probably won the most historic World Series of all time. They have to deal with the delay and the emotional tugs and still come out and play competitive baseball. I don't know anybody that's had to do more than that to win a world championship or compete for the world championship.
In 1990, the A's became the first team in more than a decade to reach the World Series 3 consecutive years. This time, they faced the Reds, who, despite going wire to wire, came in as heavy underdogs.
No one gave us a chance at really winning. They thought we might win 1 or 2 games.
We didn't think Cincinnati was that good, and that was a mistake.
And in the very first inning of the very first game, Eric Davis let that be known.
Fly ball to deep center field. It's going to go. You would think they just won the World Series.
When Eric hit that home run, I think that was it. They knew that, okay, it's on.
While Davis set the tone for the series, Reds ace Jose Rio made it stick, allowing just 1 run in his 2 series wins. In the end, the nastiest boys on this team resided in the bullpen.
The bullpen dominated. The nasty boys, Dibble and Charlton and Randy Myers, they just, they were at the top of their game and they threw hard.
In fact, this exceptional trio wouldn't be scored upon in almost 9 full innings of work.
Night for the A's. Somber and stunned.
Stunned to the tune of a 3-0 deficit, as the Reds embarked on one of the most unlikely sweeps in World Series history and their 5th franchise title.
Popped up into short right. Bensinger wants it. Cincinnati, the champions of baseball.
At the end of the 4 games after we swept them, I think they understood that, you might have better players man for man, but you better have a better unit when you take the field. And I think that's what we showed them.
No one expected us to do the things that we did. That was a special club, and I'll never, ever forget that club.
The Cincinnati Reds have done the absolute improbable.
When you look back on it, you think about, let's get off to a good start, and anything can happen. And it happened. We end up being the world champions.
After a decade of mostly surprise champions, the '91 series featured two surprises, the Twins and the Braves, both worst to first World Series qualifiers. Glad to be here, they filled the series with excitement thanks to constant game-ending heroics.
And Atlanta wins, and they said Hartford did not pay you.
I remember us going back to Minnesota, having to win only one game because we had won all three at home.
But home in the Dome that year was just as precious. And in Game 6, Kirby Puckett took matters into his own hands.
I told the guys that came to the clubhouse and I called in a meeting, I said, guys, don't worry about it today. You guys jump on my back. I'm going to carry you today.
In just the third inning, Kirby made his point.
He corks it to left center and chased by Puckett. He caught it.
Oh, Kirby Puckett with a great grab in left center field.
Then in the bottom of the 11th, with the game tied at 3 apiece, Kirby Puckett was primed for an encore.
I told Chili Davis, I said, oh, Bunny to get on base. And Chili said, Bunt. He said, bump my, you know what? He said, get up there, get a good change up, hang change up, and hit it out. Let's go home. And I said, okay, I'll do that.
Into deep left center for Mitchell.
And the Twins have won this game 4-3 on a dramatic home run by Kirby Puckett.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
The Dome was in a frenzy as the future Hall of Famer had both come through in the clutch and set the stage for a classic.
They gave us a chance to see one of the best games of all time. You know, Mr. Smoltz against Mr. Morris, Game 7.
Going through that first 7th game of the World Series against a guy I grew up just watching my whole career was great.
The pressure of a decisive Game 7 didn't faze the winningest pitcher of the '80s.
Just watch Jack Morris work. He is a war horse.
And right from the start, both pitchers were on their game.
And Smoltz is off on the right foot with a strikeout.
In the 8th, fans might have thought that Morris had reached his limit, what with runners on second and third, and Tom Kelly making the walk from the dugout.
When TK came out, he smiled, which he's done several times when he's taken me out. And I just stood there like, I'm going to kill you if you take me out.
His subtle persuasion did the trick. And following an intentional walk, Morris sought to prove that it was the right move.
And the play is to home. Out there. Out there.
Jack Morris did not want to come out of that ball game. You could see he was determined. If that game went 18 innings, Jack Morris still would have stood out there in the 18th inning.
Smoltz proved a worthy adversary, but he departed in the 8th. This unbelievable Game 7 went scoreless into the 10th, and now Morris needed closure, and her pinch hitter, Gene Larkin.
1 out. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
I remember sitting there thinking we just let this one get away because I really thought we were the better team. So, I mean, my heart was just hurt.
Heart and determination brought the Braves back to the Fall Classic the following year. But in their way was a team and a country making its World Series debut, and a hungry Blue Jays veteran in search of his first championship.
Toronto team in 1992. I thought that when I came there, that we could put it all together and win it.
It was a talent-laden club, but after losing Game 1 in Atlanta, and on the brink of another loss in Game 2, the hopes of bringing a title to Canada were in jeopardy. Until, that is, a lesser-known Blue Jay rocked the South.
One of the big turning points in that series was Ed Sprague hitting the home run to put us ahead.
Well hit to left field. Home run, Ed Sprague! Off the bench with a pinch hit 2-run homer.
After winning Game 2 and taking 2 of 3 in Toronto, the Blue Jays returned to Atlanta, where an 11th inning hit would be the stuff of dreams.
It was the 11th, and, you know, it's Same thing, 2 outs, men on base. The way you finish every practice when you're a kid. You're up, men on base. You know, your time to do something in the big game. Boom.
Down the line, a base hit into the left field corner. White has scored. Alomar comes around. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield.
To hit a double and stand in the middle, kind of the epicenter of the ballpark, and 50,000 people, you only have maybe 1,000 cheering for you because they're stunned, they're shocked, they're on their heels, and they know what might be coming.
For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border.
That's as good a feeling as you can get because they're standing there looking at you like that dirty, that guy, you know, and you just feel good and your guys are cheering for you. So that's as good as it gets.
With the Blue Jays hoping to repeat in '93, they'd have to overcome a Phillies team that was tough as nails.
We knew that the Phillies that year, they were a very, very feisty club, a scrappy club.
It was one heck of a series. I mean, it was back and forth between two really good ball clubs.
And he hits one deep to right. Forget about it. Way out of here.
Game 4 alone featured a World Series record 29 runs in the rain.
Henderson to the plate with the go-ahead run.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
With Toronto up 3-1, Philadelphia's hopes rested on the arm of Curt Schilling, who threw a complete game shutout to send it back to Canada.
Curt Schilling ended up throwing a gem in Game 5 that pushed us to Game 6, but we were still up 3-2, and we didn't want to see a Game 7.
Toronto was looking to become the first team to repeat in 15 years, but trailed 6-5 in the 9th inning of Game 6. With the tying run on second and the winning run on first, Joe Carter came slowly to the plate, ready to duel with Philly closer Mitch Williams.
I was not thinking home run at the time. It never entered my mind. I just knew that somehow, some way, the game was going to revolve around what I did that particular at-bat.
2 strikes, I know I can get him to swing at something that's not a strike. And that's why the next pitch is supposed to be up and away. I'm trying to get him to chase out of the strike zone, and either he's going to strike out on it or he's going to hit a weak fly ball to right field. But don't miss down and in.
Well hit down the left field line. Way back and gone! Joe Carter with a 3-run homer.
I didn't have to look. I knew as soon as he hit it, it was gone.
Teach 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life. The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Watching everything unfold right in front of you and the fans and the World Series ends, you know, with me standing in center field, it was kind of like the Twilight Zone out there, the way it just happened.
It's a job, and sometimes you get, sometimes you get got.
I touched home plate, and I just let it go. And with everybody on top of me, I mean, it was great.
Toronto's shot at a three-peat was put on hold in 1994, as the piercing silence of a labor dispute sent shivers through the baseball world and ended with a fan's worst nightmare.
Everyone in baseball knew what was going to happen. All the insiders knew.
I'm really sorry. I wish this day obviously had never happened.
Knowing the animosity between the union and management, I don't think anybody could have been surprised.
A world of change and flux and a century of war and disruption. One thing was always there, the World Series. 1994 it wasn't.
On the Field of Dreams, a giant anti-climax. Yes, the baseball season is over.
The absence of the World Series in October was a void some will never forget.
All of a sudden, the work stoppage came, and we looked up, and we're in first place, and it was like, you know, hey, we had a pretty good shot to win this thing.
I felt like we were the best team. I just felt like we were getting better all the time. But nobody, I don't think, thought that there would be no World Series.
We were primed to make a good run at it. And to have that rug pulled out from underneath us was was very tough to think about.
For some, the missed opportunity to play in a World Series was a momentary setback. For one of Showalter's own Yankees, however, it couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Reaching, that light at the end of the tunnel, I just didn't get a chance to get to that final light. It got to pretty bright where it was getting close, but I just didn't get to that last little rung, That was what's disappointing part of my career, is not getting a chance to play in the World Series.
But Mattingly's failure to satisfy his World Series hunger has been felt throughout baseball history. Just ask legends Rod Carew, Ralph Kiner, Billy Williams, and many others who can only say, what if?
For 5 years after I retired, I had dreams almost every 3 nights about playing in the World Series. And then I would wake up in a cold sweat and said, gosh, it's not happening.
I loved to pitch, and I thought I did a pretty good job at it. But I didn't get any postseason play to maybe prove to myself that I was maybe a little step better.
A lot of things have to happen from a positive standpoint for you. You got to have a lot of things that, work in your favor, luck being probably at the top of the list.
A little bit of luck and some hard work got baseball back on track in 1995. And with it, a familiar team continued to chase its own World Series dream. But in the Braves' way were the Cleveland Indians, who'd gone 144 in the shortened regular season with baseball's most prolific offense. So the 95 World Series was a showdown of great hitting against awesome pitching.
Gloving is gloving, modest is modest, smooth is smooth. And whenever you're facing that quality pitcher, you're gonna have to go out and try to do the best you can.
Half swing, got him. 3 up, 3 down.
Game 1 starter Greg Maddux pitched a 2-hit complete game gem for the Braves.
1 down, 3 to go. The Braves win game 1 on a superb pitching effort by Greg Maddux.
Awesome performance, a tremendous display of control and movement on pitches, and he completely frustrated Cleveland.
Tom Glavine was next in line to stymie the Indians and help give Atlanta a commanding 2-0 lead. When the series shifted to Cleveland, the Indians' bats finally came alive, and in the bottom of the 11th of a tie game, they were rewarded for their perseverance.
He lines it into center. Here comes the pinch runner, Espinosa. Grissom fires to the plate. The Indians are back in the World Series.
But not for long, as a Game 4 loss put them in dire straits. Lose and go home. Win and go south.
Back to Georgia.
But Game 2 winner Tom Glavine was poised to erase any hopes Cleveland had of coming back.
When I walked off the mound in the first inning, I knew I had what I wanted. I couldn't have asked for better stuff, so to speak.
Struck him out.
After throwing 6 scoreless innings, Glavine still needed runs to back him up. Up came David Justice, who'd been struggling for weeks.
A long drive to right. Ramirez turns to the track. She's gone.
As each inning went on, you got closer to the 9th inning, you knew how much that 1 run meant.
It remained the only run in the game, and Glavine, who eventually put discretion over valor after 8 innings, had pitched one of the best games in World Series history.
As much as I would have loved to pitch a complete game shutout selfishly, and just felt like the best thing to do would be to get Wohlers out there and get our closer on the mound, I didn't want to go out there and blow it in the 9th inning when we had a guy like him waiting in the wings.
Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its world championship. Over the full season, there's little doubt the Cleveland Indians were the best team in baseball in 1995.
That was probably one of the greatest offensive teams ever assembled, and I think we held them to a batting average of about 176 in that series.
But for a week in October, the edge belonged to the Atlanta Braves.
95, it ended the way we wanted it to end, and like I said, there's no greater feeling.
They have been baseball's best team over the last 5 years, and finally, the one missing piece is in place.
upon a time, the New York Yankees were synonymous with baseball excellence. The October Classic is back in the Bronx.
1996 marked a return to the World Series for the game's most successful franchise. For the first time in 15 years, the Yankees could reclaim the October glory that had been so much a part of their past. Their opponent, seeking to defend its title, was the Atlanta Braves, for whom things looked good early, thanks to rookie Andruw Jones.
Another home run for Andruw Jones. What a performance by the 19-year-old.
Jones became the youngest player ever to hit a World Series home run and just the second man of any age to hit home runs in each of his first 2 World Series at-bats. Despite losing the first 2 games, the Yankees skipper didn't panic.
Everybody had written us off because we're going on the road, down 2-0. But I happened to say to George that we'll go to Atlanta, we'll win 3 games there and come back and win a few next Saturday. And he looked at me like I had 2 heads.
The Yankees did win the first game in Atlanta. And in the next, Jim Leyritz capped a stirring 6-run comeback.
In the air to left field. Back at the track at the wall. We are tied. 6-6 here in the 8th. What a remarkable comeback by the Yankees.
We felt, you know what, this is our destiny. And then that Game 4 turned completely around and really gave us an idea that, hey, you know what, we got a chance to beat these guys.
The Yankees hang on and win 8-6, and this series is tied at 2 games apiece.
In Game 5, Andy Pettitte and John Smoltz waged a classic pitcher's duel.
5 strikeouts already for Smoltz. What a start for Andy Pettitte tonight. That's number 10.
But it was Pettitte who'd prevail over the veteran Smoltz, and the Yanks went on to win in dramatic fashion.
Ball game. Yankees win 1-0.
We knew after we won that game, we're going back to New York. You know, there's just no way that we're going to lose.
When the teams returned to New York, it was clear that those dark days of Yankees baseball were finally a thing of the past.
Hayes waits. The Yankees are champions of baseball.
They have surmounted every challenge. They have climbed every mountain.
They are celebrating the organization's 23rd world title.
We did it right here. We did it. Joe, I got a little cocktail for you, buddy.
The 1997 World Series featured at least one unlikely participant. In just their 5th year of existence, the expansion Florida Marlins were already bidding for a title. Opposing them, an old-school Cleveland team with no intention of being upstaged by these new kids on the block.
The Cleveland Indians have been around for a long time, playing the Florida Marlins, who haven't been around so long. The mindset was we don't want to let this team that's so new win a world championship.
Miami was so excited to see baseball in October, it rubbed off on the Florida players.
The energy and the noise, the vibration in that stadium was unbelievable. And I remember the hair standing up on the back of my neck, and I was like, okay, this is the World Series.
From the tropical heat in Florida to the bone-chilling cold of Ohio, this World Series was a study in extremes.
Welcome to our winter wonderland here at Jacobs Field.
It is the World Series. You know, you can't think about the weather. They have to play in it, too.
The coldest game in World Series history.
We did everything possible to stay warm.
And the climate change was reflected in the nature of this series.
Back to back.
As neither team won back-to-back games all series long.
Got it.
All right, there we go. It's pretty incredible with the seesaw battles back and forth. We won Game 1, they won 2, we won 3. It was back and forth like that all the way to Game 7.
In that final game, Cleveland took a 2-1 lead to the bottom of the 9th. But with 1 out and runners on the corners for Florida, Craig Counsell had a chance to tie it.
That guy is a money player. And, you know, I knew that, well, you know, we got the right guy up there.
Deep drive to right. Game 7 of the World Series is tied.
You know, after we tied up, there was so much pressure and so much hype going on. It was just, it was unbelievable.
With the score still even at 2, the game moved to the bottom of the 11th. Up came Edgar Renteria, barely 21 years old.
We just said the game is over. The right guys are up there at the right time.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
It's just unbelievable. You know, this is the most amazing thing that ever happened in my career.
For me, it was one of the best 7 games I've ever seen and ever been in, and something I'll never forget.
The Yankees were back in the World Series picture in 1998, and with added pressure to succeed, thanks to a record-setting regular season.
Everyone expected us to go to the World Series and win the World Series and breeze through the playoffs, so there were some high expectations on us.
They were now just 4 wins away from perhaps the greatest season in Major League history. And in the World Series, the San Diego Padres got an early sign that magic had returned to the Bronx.
Swung on a drill deep to right. There it goes. That ball is gone. A grand slam into the upper deck. Oh, what a home run for Tino Martinez.
That's what I remember about the 1998 World Series. Watching that grand slam go out of there and just watching the people go crazy.
The Yankees were feeling it with timely plays.
Oh, what a catch by O'Neill.
And late-game heroics.
On the track, at the wall, gone! A 3-run home run for Scott Brosius.
It really struck me when I saw the emotion on his face. I mean, how could you not be pumped in the World Series in this type of situation? But that's one of the great performances in World Series history and Yankee World Series history.
It was only fitting that the series MVP, third baseman Scott Brosius, would put the cap on the sweep.
Hit on the ground on a hop to Brosius. Fields, throws across. Ball game over. World Series over.
Boy, if I had one word, it'd probably just be storybook.
Yankees win. The Yankees win.
This team, as far as what it's accomplished to this point, it's kind of mind-boggling.
A lifetime. We will probably never see this again.
1998 was a difficult year to follow, but these Yankees had resolve.
We didn't live up to the expectations of the 98 team, but we were able to do even better in the postseason.
The 1999 World Series would be a rematch of '96, and it was obvious that the Bombers meant business. They disposed of the Braves in 4 straight, giving them a postseason record that year of 11-1. And they won their 12th consecutive World Series game in the process.
Ball game over. World Series over.
New York Yankees, world champions, team of the decade, most successful franchise of the century.
It's a team of guys that have put personal things aside, that have put individual goals aside for this one team goal. And when you look and you just see in everybody's face, yeah, this is what it's all about. That's what I remember.
The New York Yankees have once again reached the pinnacle of the sports world.
It just seems like every year that there's a fairy tale ending to our season and stuff magical happens.
For the Yankees to continue their run in 2000, they'd have to beat the New York Mets in the first Subway Series in 44 years.
Let's go Yankees! Let's go Mets! Vamos Yankees! Yankees, vamos!
If you were in New York, you couldn't escape it. I mean, everything I heard or saw was the Subway Series.
Right from the start, there was an unmistakable intensity in the Big Apple.
It's Canino, left field, base hit. Yankees win game 1.
This classic showdown went the Yankees' way very early on, and they emerged from the Bronx with a 2-game lead. They did lose Game 3, their first World Series loss since '96, but it was just a bump in the road as they rebounded in Game 4 right off the bat.
And Jeter swings, hits a high drive to left. It is high, it is far, it is gone.
And in Game 5, in Queens, they became kings once again.
Johnson gets into one to center. Back is Brian Williams, a 3-piece.
The New York Yankees have once again reached the summit of the sports world. They've won their 3rd straight championship.
It's just amazing the fact that we have been able to do it year after year after year.
In 2001, the Yankees reached the series for the 4th straight year, their 38th Fall Classic overall. It was just the first for Arizona, but a pair of 20-game winners quickly helped them shed their rookie image.
Diamondbacks winning. They're up 2-0.
The Yankees made their way back to a city still coping with the aftermath of September 11th. And before Game 3 came a visit that stirred some hearts.
It was an incredible show of support for getting back to normal by the president.
Very nice throw, Mr. President. Good stuff, good stuff.
After the president delivered the night's first pitch, Mariano Rivera threw the last, and the Yankees took Game 3. In Game 4, the Yankees continued to feed off the pulse of their city and the hallowed Bronx grounds that even wily veterans have come to fear.
Crazy things happen in a full moon.
Like being down by 2 in the 9th against Arizona's bullpen ace, with Tino Martinez at the plate, 2 outs, and a runner on.
Fly ball center field. Hit his way back at the wall. Goodbye. Home run. Home run. Tino Martinez.
And the Yankees on the precipice of defeat tie the game at 3.
Now, a World Series first. A game in November. The Yankees already had a Mr. October in Reggie Jackson. Was a new title awaiting Derek Jeter?
3-2 pitch. Swung on a drill to right field. Doing back Sanders on the track at the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya!
I've never hit a walk-off home run before. You dream of when you're a kid is to hit a home run in a key situation in the World Series, and to get an opportunity to do that is pretty overwhelming. You can't really put into words what the feeling is like.
With the series now tied at 2 games apiece, how could Game 5 possibly top that? How about the same inning, same lead, same closer, 2 outs, and a runner on base? This time for Scott Brosius.
That one hit in the air to left field. Do you believe it? Goodbye, home run. They have done it again. This game is tied.
I don't believe it. Deja vu. A 2-out, game-tying 2-run home run by Scott Brosius. Probably the most unbelievable feat in World Series history.
It's being a little kid again. That's all it is. You're filled with so much excitement and adrenaline, especially on the heels of the night before. Just going around the bases going, wow, no way did this happen again, and we still have a chance to win the game.
And 3 innings later, the Yankees would do just that.
Series 3-2. They've done it again. Unbelievable.
When you win a game in that fashion, 2 outs in the 9th again, those are the stories that people are going to remember. Were you at Game 4? Were you at Game 5 of the 2001 World Series? Because it was absolutely the most fun 2 games I think I've ever played in my life.
Oh my! Another miracle in the Bronx!
But how things changed on the long flight back west. In Arizona for Game 6, the Diamondbacks dominated.
Game 6 belongs to Arizona, forcing Game 7 tomorrow night.
So it was time for the final test. 1 game stood between Arizona's first title and the Yankees' 4th in a row. And in the 8th, it looked as if New York just might get it.
And the Yankees with yet another reason to celebrate.
The sight of Alfonso Soriano rounding the bases had to cause some hearts in the hometown stands to sink. But these Diamondbacks were determined to strike back.
There was a real grim determination that this team was going to make it happen.
The Diamondbacks have tied it here in the 9th.
It all came down to Luis Gonzalez.
This is the situation you dream about. Bases loaded, Game 7 of the World Series. You have a chance to be a hero. Don't mess this thing up.
The chance of a lifetime for Luis Gonzalez. And a little blooper. Great hit! Diamondbacks win! They're the world champions! Gonzalez did it! The Diamondbacks have unseated the New York Yankees as the world champions!
A feeling went through my body that I've never felt before. I felt
what a champion feels like.
Are you kidding me? Folks, it doesn't get any better than that. Honk your horn, stomp your feet, celebrate in Arizona.
There's no question. The 2001 World Series is the best World Series ever. Just looking at the historical record, I don't think anything else is really that close. It is 0-1.
The 2002 series would be historic in its own right. The first ever all-wild-card World Series.
It's Game 1 of the World Series 2002, the Anaheim Angels and the San Francisco Giants.
The Angels had waited more than 4 decades for the chance to take the series stage. And the Giants' Barry Bonds had endured a 17-year wait of his own. In Act 1, Bonds made the first statement.
Oh, my God!
After leading the Giants to victory in Game 1 of the series, Bonds was ready for an encore.
In the bleachers. You can see Salmon saying in the dugout, that's the furthest ball I've ever seen hit.
The Angels won that second game, but in Game 3, Bonds made history.
Bonds into center field. Back at the wall. Another blast from Barry Bonds.
Bonds had become the first player ever to hit home runs in his first 3 World Series games. And he led the Giants to a 3-2 series lead, putting San Francisco on the doorstep of a championship.
You tip your hat to them, but guess what? There's going to be a Game 6.
Let's go, Pop. One more time.
The San Francisco Giants are 1 win away from winning their first World Series.
The Angels with their backs flat up against the wall.
Early in Game 6, for the first time all series, the bats on both sides were silent, with 4 innings of scoreless ball. But then San Fran got a giant surprise.
John Dunston, perhaps the most unlikely candidate to hit a home run of the Giants lineup, does just that.
So the Angels called on red-hot reliever Francisco Rodriguez to keep the Giants at bay. But against this man, even he proved vulnerable.
That is crushed deep into the night, and it's 4-0 San Francisco.
The Giants had taken a 5-0 lead and now appeared a lock for the title. But that's when the Angels turned to their season-long good luck charm.
They put the rally monkey up on the scoreboard, and this place went berserk.
The fans just go crazy seeing that thing, and it gives us a nice boost of adrenaline to go up there and try to kick butt.
Spezio could put the Angels back in this game. The warning track to the wall, it's gone! A home run! Spezio has made it a 2-run game. The Angels are breathing and right back into it.
Then it was Darren Erstad's turn to close the gap.
Smoked into right. It's a 1-run game.
The never say die Angels giving their fans a thrill down the stretch.
Next, Troy Glaus capped the amazing rally.
Belton, left field, in the gap, it's in there for a double. Here comes Biggins, here comes Anderson.
The Anaheim Angels have come all the way back.
The Angels take the lead, 6-5.
And with Troy Percival, they weren't about to relinquish it.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Well, what was on the line with us as far as facing elimination in that series? I don't think I've ever been involved in a more exciting ballgame.
We are going to Game 7 incredibly.
The Angels and the Giants, Game 7. It's do or die tonight.
John Lackey was trying to become the first rookie to win a deciding Game 7 since Babe Adams of the Pirates in 1909.
I knew, I had to step up. I was on short rest, so I was just going to go as hard as I could for as long as I could.
Lackey showed the poise of a veteran, holding the Giants to 1 run through 5. Now the Angels needed a hero at the plate, and they found just the man.
A line drive down the right field line. Garrett Anderson clears the bases, and the Angels lead 4-1.
With San Francisco finally looking like a beaten team, Anaheim prepared to finish them off.
The Angels are 1 out away. Here's the pitch to Lofton. Fly ball center field. Erstad says he's got it. Erstad makes the catch. The Anaheim Angels are the champions champion. Is that amazing? Yeah, that's what that says. Unbelievable. The 42-year wait comes to an end as the Anaheim Angels win it all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Yankee Stadium, the site of the 2003 World Series.
The Yankees were there for the 6th time in 8 years.
It's a beautiful night in the Bronx. Game 1 of the Fall Classic. It's the Fish and the Yanks.
The wild-card Florida Marlins had gotten to the postseason by recording the second-best record in the majors after they changed managers in May.
Well, they were 75-49 under Jack McKeon.
You're seeing a relaxed club out there, not worrying about whether they make a mistake. And basically, we're not supposed to be here, so let's go out and have fun.
And flying under the radar seemed to suit the underdog Marlins just fine as the series got underway. They sent the Yankees to their first World Series home loss since 1996.
And the Florida Marlins have beaten the New York Yankees in Game 1.
Winning Game 1's big. I think we can put a lot of pressure on them for tomorrow, and hopefully we take Game 2.
Well, that didn't happen as the Yankees earned a split, and they take a 2-1 lead in Florida, thanks in part to an all-time record 19th postseason home run by Bernie Williams and Mariano Rivera's 30th postseason save as part of their 6-1 victory.
Tonight here in Miami, Game 4 of the 2003 World Series.
There's nobody here who believes that if the Marlins lose this game, they are going to come back against the Yankees and win.
With such a daunting task ahead, McKeon called on Carl Pavano to pitch the biggest game of his career.
You know, we had a lot riding on that game, and it's a huge series, and you got to let it all hang out now because you never know if you're going to get this chance again.
Carl Pavano has turned in 7 outstanding innings.
But a blown save by Ugueth Urbina in the 9th gave New York new life.
The Yankees have tied the game. A triple by Ruben Sierra.
It remained a nail-biting 3-3 game until Alex Gonzalez came up in the 12th.
On the left field line, that ball is trouble.
Into the corner. Gone!
Gonzalez! The Marlins win!
And this World Series is all even again.
If you go down 3-1, it's a big-time uphill climb, but when you even it up 2-2, I think the momentum really changed in our favor.
Well, we're back where we started, right here at Yankee Stadium. The Marlins roll in after winning 2 of 3 at home. They're up 3-2.
With the title so close, McKeon went to Josh Beckett on just 3 days' rest against the Yankees' 2003 postseason ace, Andy Pettitte. A classic pitcher's duel was in the making.
Andy is changing his speeds beautifully tonight. Power against power, and Beckett won that battle.
No doubt in my mind that he was going 9 innings. Believe me, I was not going to take him out. The way he pitched, he deserved to go all the way and win it.
And after the Marlins scored a pair, Beckett got that chance to pitch a complete game clincher.
Slow chopper. Beckett may make the final play. Tags him out. The Marlins win. The Fishes swam upstream are the world champions.
Just a great feeling. You can't really explain it. You know, you see all the guys jumping on, piling on each other, you know, throughout the other championships, but until you experience it, you can't really explain it.
In 2004, Boston entered the World Series with incredible momentum, thanks to the most dramatic League Championship Series comeback in baseball history.
First team ever to win a series, went down 3-0.
For more than 80 years, the curse of the Bambino had haunted Boston fans, and now they were eager to see it finally come to an end.
The first time since 1986 they get a chance to see their beloved Red Sox in a World Series.
But they'd have to beat a powerful St. Louis team that got to the World Series after 105 regular season wins.
We expect to see a lot of offense. It's 9-9 in the 8th.
Playing a high fly ball deep down the right field line by the pesky ball. Home run! Homers in his 3rd straight postseason.
Boston took Game 1 11-9, with the 20 combined runs the most ever in a World Series opener.
The Boston Red Sox have won Game 1 of the 100th World Series. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fenway Park for Game 2 of the 2004 World Series.
A hobbled Curt Schilling took the mound for Boston, not long after sutures were reinserted to stabilize the tendon in his right ankle.
Swing and a miss by Anderson. Strike 3.
That medical procedure to attend to the ankle of Curt Schilling seems to have worked.
Just wish everybody on this planet could experience the day that I just experienced. It's just the most amazing day of my life.
A day and night capped off by a 6-2 victory that gave Boston a 2-game advantage. St. Louis played host to its first World Series game since 1987, and amidst the rain, the Cardinals were hoping to continue their good fortune at home.
The Cardinals this postseason 6-0 here at home.
But the Sox had a powerful weapon in Manny Ramirez. His 2 RBIs led Boston to a 4-1 victory and a 3-0 series lead.
The Boston Red Sox are 1 victory away after 86 years of winning a World Series for the first time since 1918.
Well, you know what's at stake here. The Boston Red Sox 1 win away from trying to do something that the franchise hasn't accomplished in 86 years.
Let's go, gotta have it, gotta have it.
And this would be the night.
Swing and a shot
ripped into right
Way
field.
back it goes.
It is going to put Boston on top.
He swings and hits a fly ball to deep right center. Way back! Way back! It's off the wall. Here comes Baratek. And a 2-run double by Trout Nixon gives the Red Sox a 3-0 lead.
With Keith Foulke on the mound in the ninth, any remnants of the curse were swept away.
Back to Foulke. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it.
After 86 years, the Boston Red Sox are the champions of the baseball world.
It's just a tremendous accomplishment for this team and the city, and 86 years of frustration is finally over.
In 2005, there were 2 teams looking to break long-standing droughts.
When you talk about these 2 teams still playing this deep into the season, nobody believed it would be the White Sox and the Astros for the whole thing.
Houston had never been in a World Series, and the White Sox hadn't won one since 1917.
We're going to face a pretty good pitching staff, sort of them. This game is going to be whoever executes better, whoever makes less mistakes, whoever got the clutch hitting is the one going to win.
And in Game 1, Chicago's Joe Crede executed at the plate quite nicely.
Swing long one, deep left center, gone for a home run. Crede has untied the score. Sox lead 4-3.
It's definitely, a great feeling, something you always dreamt about when you were a kid. And I was around the base, I said, okay, we have a 1-run lead. We want to hold these guys, for the rest of the game.
And Joe did more than his part when he took his magic out onto the field.
Crede dives, got it, gets up, throws to first. Hang a star on that. Just put the World Series on his shoulders.
The White Sox won Game 1. Then a night later, they continued their flair for the dramatic, down by 2 in the 7th.
Swinging along with it. It's going to go. It's a slam. Sox lead 6-4.
What a mood swing we have had here in Chicago.
Houston fought back game lead to tie it again at 6. But Chicago was determined to light the South Side up, and still another late-game hero would emerge, this time in the 9th.
Podsednik hits one to deep right center field. And it's a gunner! A White Sox winner! A winner on a Podsednik home run! Oh my God!
It's a proud night here for the fans in Houston.
It was the first time a World Series game had taken place in the Lone Star State. It would also become, by time, the longest Fall Classic contest ever.
The first World Series game played in Texas goes extra innings.
What a fight for Game 3. 1, 2, 3, they go.
In the extra innings, at any point, any pitch, the game could be over.
And waiting to do something special with that pitch in his first at-bat was Jeff Blum.
Game number 3 will go to the 14th inning.
swing. There's a smash deep to right field, down the line. That ball is a home run, and the White Sox lead 6-5.
That at-bat by Boulogne was symbolic of our season. Every game somebody has stepped up.
Chicago was now on the verge of a sweep, but Houston wouldn't go away. And in the fourth game of the series, a great pitching duel shaped up.
Swinging, missing, struck him out.
2 strikeouts in the inning, 7 in the game for Freddie Garcia.
5 strikeouts in a row for Brandon Becky.
The scoreless tie continued into the 7th inning when series MVP Jermaine Dye came through with his 7th hit of the series.
Base hit to center. Harris scores. The White Sox have a 1-0 lead in the 8th.
A lead the White Sox determined would not be lost, no matter the cost.
He dives into the stands.
Did he catch it?
He's got it.
Unbelievable.
Juan Uribe's next big play took place on the diamond, and it clinched the title for the White Sox.
Out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
We're world champions.
This is the best day of my life right now. I don't care whatever else I do in this game. Nothing feels like this right here.
The 2006 World Series featured the St. Louis Cardinals and Detroit Tigers, a rematch of the '68 Classic, which had been won in 7 games by Detroit.
Let's hope the 2006 series is as memorable and as competitive as the 1968 series was.
Well, it certainly tried, because in the first inning of the opening game, baseball history was made.
It's Anthony Reyes making the start, the rookie, and this is the first time in World Series history that 2 rookies will hook up in game number 1.
It wasn't the smoothest of starts for either rookie, as they were both nicked early on.
And it is long gone. And that'll tie the game. A home run by Rowland ties it. St. Louis 1, Detroit 1.
But Anthony Reyes, whose 5 regular season wins were the fewest ever for a World Series Game 1 starter, recovered to pitch a game he'll never forget.
As a young kid that doesn't have very many starts in the big leagues, to do that in such a huge stage was amazing.
Anthony Reyes with the game of his life.
I'm just going to take it as a win in the World Series and try to think about it, what I've done when this whole thing's over with. But right now, we got the series win.
In Game 2, the spotlight shined on Tiger lefty Kenny Rogers, who entered the night with 15 straight scoreless postseason innings to his credit.
Fastball swung on and missed. He struck him out. Kenny Rogers, 7 shutout innings.
Rogers extended that streak to 23 scoreless frames and helped the Tigers even the series at a game apiece.
And we are moments away from getting started.
In a Red Sea here in St. Louis this evening. Got the adrenaline flowing for the World Series.
St. Louis sent the 2005 Cy Young Award winner to the mound, and Chris Carpenter was sensational.
Carpenter, 8 innings, no runs, 3 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts.
The Cardinals went up 3-1 when David Eckstein delivered in Game 4.
A swing, and there's a ball hit to left center. Eckstein has an RBI double.
St. Louis fans had every reason to believe their Redbirds would clinch the series at home in Game 5.
Big crowd, and they are all jittered up here tonight. They want to see a world championship flag fly over downtown St. Louis.
The pressure was on Cardinals starter Jeff Weaver, but he found a way to stay in the moment.
I wanted to make sure to slow things down, try to trick myself into acting like it was a normal, everyday game.
Swing and a miss. He threw a 4-seamer right by him.
Weaver's pitch. Swing and a miss.
Jeff Weaver is pitching the game of his life.
And thanks to Jeff, the Cardinals did indeed weave another championship into their tapestry of titles.
Swing and a miss. The Cardinals are world champions for 2006.
Just a surreal situation. Just turning and seeing the joy on everyone's face was unbelievable.
The 2007 Colorado Rockies made an incredible run to win the wild card.
The throw to the plate, he is safe.
By the time they reached the World Series, the relentless Rockies had won 21 of their past 22.
Tulowitzki has it, throws to first, ball game, World Series time in Colorado.
But first, they had to head to Boston, where they'd meet the powerful Red Sox.
Game 1 of the 103rd World Series.
You got the Boston Red Sox, the fabled Red Sox.
They're playing a team in the World Series tonight that didn't exist until 1993.
Good luck to you, Bobby.
Hey, congratulations to you guys, man.
Oh, thank you.
But as hot as the Rockies were, they were on the road at Fenway, and they had to face Josh Beckett.
You're facing a team that had won 21 out of 22, hadn't lost a game in 38 days. Josh set the tone, and he set the tone right from the get-go.
A fastball on the outside corner, strike three call.
That'll do it for the Rockies. They're out in order, and Beckett fans the side.
Beckett did his part, and the Boston offense erupted, giving the Red Sox a smooth and forceful Game 1 victory.
Tonight at Fenway, all Boston. The Red Sox 13, the Rockies 1.
Boston also got a tight win in Game 2, with Curt Schilling adding to his impressive resume by winning his 11th career postseason game. That put the Sox up 2-0.
The legend grows for Curt Schilling.
For the first time ever, a World Series game would be played in Colorado. And despite being down, Rockies fans were ready to rock.
Supposed to be somewhat loud tonight, huh?
It's going to be great.
Be fun.
What a charged up atmosphere here in Denver as this city and this ballpark prepares to host its first ever World Series game.
But Daisuke Matsuzaka cut through the noise to become the first Japanese-born pitcher ever to both start and win a World Series game.
Breaking ball for strike three.
The Boston Red Sox are 1 game away from winning the World Championship.
It is Game 4 of the World Series from Coors Field in Denver.
Stingy starting pitching had become the theme for Boston, and Game 4 would top them all. Red Sox lefty John Lester had overcome cancer and was now in line to pitch the series-clinching game. And did he ever rise to the occasion?
Swing and a miss at a high fastball. He got him.
In a truly inspirational performance, Lester threw 5 2/3 shutout innings.
We tried to downplay his situation because we were competing. He came out and competed. He didn't get tired. He kept his stamina. He threw strikes. He did a great job. We were proud of him.
And though a late surge by the Rockies brought them back to within 1, closer Jonathan Papelbon put an end to their magical run.
The 2-2 pitch.
Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again.
It's over. The Red Sox have swept the Colorado Rockies.
And the World Championship of Major League Baseball once again belongs to Red Sox Nation.
Under the cover of a dome in Florida, any hopes the Red Sox might have had about repeating in '08 were shot down by an 11-year-old expansion team on the verge of capturing its first pennant.
The Rays are going to the World Series. This improbable season has another chapter to it.
Their opponent was the Phillies, back in the Fall Classic for the first time since 1993, and looking for just their second ever World Series title. The more seasoned team made an early statement in Game 1, thanks to second baseman Chase Utley.
There's a drive deep to right field, going back Zobrist at the warning track, at the wall.
2-run home run, Chase Utley here on the top of the first, and the Phillies strike first in St. Pete with a 2-0 lead, 3 batters into the ballgame.
You always want to try to score early, especially on the road, to get an early lead, especially for Cole Hamels. You can't ask for something better.
Hamels would win his 4th straight postseason start in '08, with a little help from closer Brad Lidge, who was fresh off a regular season that saw him save 41 games in 41 chances.
Lidge with a 1-2-3 ninth inning, and the Phillies have Game 1.
The Rays rebounded to win the next one and even the series at a game apiece. But when the two teams returned to Philadelphia for Game 3, the fickle fall weather became the series story.
Right now, the rain continues to fall. The tarp is down, and we will be in a delay for the start of this one.
This is October weather right here.
After more than an hour and a half, the game finally got underway, and some 3 hours after that, Carlos Ruiz ended it with a squibber of a hit.
High fastball, chopped slowly toward third. It's rolling. Barehanded by Longoria. An underhanded throw. Sails over the head of the catcher. And the ball game is over.
Two nights later, the rain was back, with the Phillies now just one win away from the title. This time, baseball tried to weather the storm.
It can't get much worse than this.
No.
And have them continue to play baseball.
No.
It is an official game, however.
But following the top of the sixth, with the game now tied at 2, the rain became too much for the teams to continue.
Tonight's game has been suspended. It will be resumed when I believe that weather conditions are appropriate.
That time came 2 days later, when the first ever suspension of a World Series game was lifted, resulting in a very unusual sight as Game 5 between the Phillies and the Rays resumed.
The fact that we're starting the bottom of the 6th inning, it's the home team that gets to hit first. Worth a shallow fly ball. Iwamura can't make the play. And the Phillies take the lead. Baldelli hits one into left. Rocco Baldelli has gone deep. It's 3-3 in the top of the 7th. And a ground ball up the middle, base hit. Pedro Feliz delivers. 4-3 Philadelphia.
Fans in the city of brotherly love had waited a long time for this moment, and Lidge came on to seal it.
The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The 09 series began in New York, with the visiting Phillies hoping to repeat. But they'd be facing a 103-win Yankee team, one that was in the Fall Classic for the first time in 6 years.
It's going to be tough. I mean, for us to be the champions, we have to beat the champions, and I think that's what everybody in baseball wanted to see.
You know, he's not playing the National League this week. He's playing the varsity.
The Phils were loose, and Utley once again gave them a Game 1 boost.
Into the bleachers. It's the second home run of the night for Chase Utley.
Thanks in large part to Utley's power stroke and a masterful performance by Cliff Lee, the Phillies were now a step closer to becoming the first back-to-back champions since the Yankees did it at the turn of the century.
The Phillies take Game 1.
Unfortunately for the Phils, Hideki Matsui was ready to explode, and he took Pedro Martinez deep to help the Yankees to a Game 2 win. When the series shifted to Philadelphia, the home team took a 3-0 lead early. But then, Alex Rodriguez found a camera angle he liked.
Here's one down the right field line.
And gave the game a whole new focus.
It's high off the wall, a fair ball.
Looked like it actually hit a camera above the right field wall and should be called a home run. It is a home run.
Thanks to the first ever World Series home run confirmed by replay and more power from Matsui, the Yankees now appeared to have the momentum.
The Yankees have now taken a 2-1 lead in the World Series.
A night later, the third homer of the series by Chase Utley, all of them off CC Sabathia, got the Phillies to within 1.
Chase Utley has taken CC deep again.
But in the ninth, Johnny Damon stole 2 bags and the show.
And Damon now runs toward third, and there's no one there because of the overshift.
Damon opened the door for the Yankees, who scored 3 times in the inning and won their second straight in Philadelphia.
And they can wrap it up tomorrow night.
Do it, all right, all right.
The Phils were now desperate for a win, and they got it with a formula similar to Game 1.
And a shot into right.
He has done it again. Chase Utley with his second multi-homer game in this World Series.
Utley's 5th home run tied the World Series record, and Cliff Lee got through 7.
Strike 3 called.
The Phillies won 8-6, and so the series returned to the Bronx with the Yankees leading 3-2.
27 outs for their 27th championship.
And World Series MVP Hideki Matsui played the numbers game to perfection by rolling a 6.
And Matsui-san has 6 RBIs.
By tying the record for most RBIs in a single World Series game. Matsui had done his part to lead the Yankees to that magical number of 27.
The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time.
Although Cliff Lee had failed to earn a ring with the Phillies in '09, he got another chance the following year when his new team, the Texas Rangers, faced off in their first ever World Series against the upstart San Francisco Giants.
With Game 1 of the World Series, you expect a good matchup, but this one is over the top.
It was, after all, a battle of former Cy Young Award winners, but it was the hitters who took control.
And the first run of this World Series belongs to Texas.
So the Rangers definitely making Lincecum work here in the first inning.
Another hit. Another run. It's 5-2.
To come out and blow out Cliff Lee, the most dominant pitcher in the postseason.
And that's it for Lee.
There was almost a sense of not believing.
San Francisco churned out one hit after another.
High fly ball to left. Uribe shoots one out.
They went on to score a nearly astonishing 11 runs in the victory.
Giants win Game 1.
In Game 2, righty Matt Cain and lefty C.J. Wilson produced the pitcher's duel that most fans had expected in the opener.
And a swing and a miss, first strikeout from Matt Cain.
And the pitch. Struck him out looking.
But a blister sent Wilson to the showers after 6+ innings, and the Giants blitzed the Rangers bullpen and won 9-0.
So the Giants beat the Rangers tonight behind Matt Cain.
The series moved to Texas for the next 3, and it was a brand new venue for the Fall Classic.
The first World Series game ever played here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington.
And it was a rookie, Mitch Moreland, who provided the big hit in the Rangers' 4-2 win.
Deep drive to right. That ball is way, way back. That ball is history. It's a 3-run Jimmy Jam for Mitch Moreland.
And it was still another rookie who stole the spotlight the following night, as Giants starter Madison Bumgarner threw 8 shutout innings, and that put the Giants 1 win away from their first championship since 1954.
An unforgettable performance by a 21-year-old.
Game 5 featured a rematch of Lincecum and Lee, and this time, the two aces were both dealing. The result was a tense Fall Classic contest.
Cliff Lee with a strong first inning.
Swing and a miss.
Lincecum is absolutely dominating.
Come the 7th, Series MVP Edgar Renteria would give the Giants all the offense they'd need.
Yeah! Edgar Renteria has hit a 3-run homer.
And as he had done so often that year, Brian Wilson shut the door.
For the first time in 52 years, the Giants are world champions.
The Rangers returned to the World Series in 2011, and this time, they were up against a sizzling hot St. Louis Cardinal team. One that had gone on a miracle run in September to just barely reach postseason play.
That attitude that the boys had developed about heck or high water, they're going to play 9, that's the best example.
And in Game 1, the Cardinals took a 3-2 lead on Alan Craig's pinch hit single.
Slash to the right field side and a sliding attempt by Cruz, but he can't make the catch. 1 run is home.
The St. Louis bullpen also came up big, securing a Game 1 triumph for the Cardinals.
Bullpen going 3 shutout innings, giving up just 1 hit.
But that bullpen blew the lead the following night, allowing Texas to tie the series at a game apiece.
And the Rangers win Game 2.
With the series back in Texas for the second straight year, fans thought the bats might heat up. But nobody could have predicted the historic performance about to be put on by one man in particular.
A high fastball hit a mile way back into the bleachers and gone. Just tied the all-time World Series single-game home run record, hits record, and RBI record.
Albert's 14 total bases were a series record and helped the Cardinals take Game 3. Down 2-1, the Rangers looked to get even. A dominant Derek Holland turned the trick.
95, that's as hard as Holland has been throwing since the beginning.
Holland's 8+ innings of brilliant shutout ball enabled Texas to tie the series at 2 games each.
Derek Holland walks off the field with a moment he'll never forget.
The following night, Texas catcher Mike Napoli delivered a clutch 2-run double in the 8th. And that put the Rangers ahead to stay.
Texas has won 4-2, and they lead 3-2 in the World Series.
Texas appeared to be in command.
If Texas wins tonight, the Texas Ranger franchise will have its first ever World Series championship.
But down by 2 and 1 strike from elimination, the Cardinals showed their resolve once again, with a moment forever frozen in time.
Well, 1-2 and a fastball hit to right field. Going back is Cruz, and Pujols scores. Berkman scores. Freeze into third. It's tied.
A Josh Hamilton 2-run homer in the 10th once again gave Texas the lead.
And it's 9-7 Texas here in the 10th.
But in the bottom half of the inning, once again, the Cardinals battled back. And once again, they were down to their last strike.
In the air to center. Way back.
It is gone.
We will see you tomorrow night.
But Freeze wasn't done, as he put the Cardinals on the board in Game 7.
Swinging a shot to left center.
Pujols scores. Berkman scores. This game is tied up.
And Alan Craig's homer in the 3rd gave the Cardinals a lead they weren't about to relinquish.
Ball game. World champions, St. Louis Cardinals.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
I'm Bob Costas. Thanks for watching the World Series, History of the Fall Classic. We leave you now with more than a century's worth of champions.